Fantastic setting for a fantastic event. Well, the Foro Italico outside the Stadio Olimpico here in Rome plays host to one of the biggest events of the entire year. The World Tour has travelled through Hamburg, Stade, to name a few, but now we are in Rome in another iconic setting for what should be and could be an iconic game here today. It's Norway, the beach volley Vikings, Anders Moll and Christian Sorum, up against two former world champions with different partners, and the Olympic gold medalist in Bruno playing with Evandro. This is not just a beach volleyball match, this is a beach volleyball occasion. Expect quality, drama, and please expect the unexpected, as there's four of the world's best here in what's only going to be a heavyweight encounter with big punches from both teams. The Vikings have run the sport over the last 18 months. They've only lost 4 matches this entire season. One of those was to Bruno and Evandro in Warsaw. This is a rematch of that 4-star final. It's not for gold this time, it's for a place in the final 4, but it could easily be fitting of an Olympic final or a World Tour final. Well, Louis Lett with you in the commentary box as we get ready to meet the referees. Chalampos Papadopoulos is on the stand from Greece. Giuseppe Torto, the second referee on the sand. It's time to meet the teams. The best team in the world up against two former world champions and Olympic gold medalist. The Beach Volley Vikings are currently the biggest name in this sport. The screen slightly behind us is Anders Moll. The blocker for the Beach Volley Vikings makes his way into the arena. 22 years young, but for this team, they've won 100 games and just lost 4 this season. His defender, Christian Sorum. Sorum, the best defender last year in 2018. Anders Moll voted the most outstanding player. The last time they played was in Moscow 3 weeks ago, where they won the European Championships, having won in Tokyo, Vienna and Stade. A third place at the World Championships wasn't on the script, but boy oh boy have they bounced back. And it's very, very rare that Brazil walk into a beach volleyballing contest as the underdog. But for Evandro, the best server on the FIVB World Tour 3 times in a row. He's ferocious from the baseline, ferocious in the block. A former world champion in 2017 with Andre Loyola. He's really ready, and he's playing so well. 29 years old now. Evandro today will have to be consistent, and he will have to be at his best. His partner, the most outstanding player in the game, 2015 and 16, Olympic gold medalist, Bruno. For years, the player that many have aspired to be. Still very much at the top of his game, but this has been a year of change for Brazil and a year of inconsistencies, but this week they're undefeated and they are playing so well. It's the Vikings up against Evandro Bruno for a place in the final 4 of the FIVB Beach Volleyball World Tour Finals. Get ready. This one is going to be off the radar. Bruno gets us underway. First one falters into the net. Remember, the winner of this game will play the winner of Van der Velde from the Netherlands, who are currently beating Krasilnikov and Stoyanovski from Russia on the outside courts, the world champions from Hamburg. Right side, Bruno, who's just been magical all week long. Good feet to the ball, and the beautiful thing about Bruno, hangs in the air for days, opens up the upper body. And from that position, can either access the line or the angle. Evandro has a serve to be feared. Unleashes the first one. It's a ripper from Evandro. That's going to give him confidence throughout this quarter-final encounter. Put your crash helmets on, Vikings. Get your shields in the way. Evandro has come to the party already. This Brazilian performance really does rely on the service consistency and the rhythm from Evandro. 2 in a row from Evandro. We saw this in this very same encounter back in Charmaine at the beginning of the season, when Evandro went back to the baseline and just bullied the Vikings. Wasn't enough to win that day. It was enough to take the opening set. .99 kilometers an hour in the breeze, setting out of system. Christian Sorum knuckles one to the line, and the Vikings are off the mark in the territory of the Gladiators. Christian Sorum, fantastic vision of the block all the time, and Evandro at 6'11". Big hands for Sorum to see, but that's an ace this time from the Vikings. Anders Moll. Good angles, splitting the reception unit. That's one way to disrupt. Brazil serving them centrally to try and take away the sharp angles from them. Bruno hits pretty sharp from the inside. Bruno and Evandro have a topsy-turvy relationship, and they're already gunning at each other in this game. Keep an eye on it. No high fives. Bruno did not want any of that high five from Evandro. Bruno's trying to get himself in the zone. Miss serve. When you think about pioneers of the sport, that's the beach volley Vikings in a nutshell. To only lose 4 games so far this season. One of them was Krasilnikov Stoyanovski in The Hague when Anders Moll had an injury earlier on in the season. He goes low on Evandro. Sorum is slightly out of reach. But this game is getting tougher. As the seasons go on, the progression is crazy. And the beach volley Vikings are running the sports. And there's a big stat for you from the beach volley Vikings, is that 1 in 5 points for the Vikings is an Anders Moll kill block. Off the body is Christian Sorum. We'll come back to that stat in just a moment from way downtown. Just hammers it into the top of the net band. Bruno gets a little bit of luck this time. And that's all about Evandro as well. Transition setting at 2 meters 11. It's not easy to chase after that ball and put it into a zone where Bruno can still dictate the play. Evandro again. Hammer of a serve. Christian Sorum passing off the net. Good setting. But it's too tight, and that's when Evandro comes into the equation because he's so big at the net. They're looking for a hand over here from Evandro. They're not going to get much love from the first referee. No challenge allowed on a handover. Well, Anders Moll makes a block every 5 points for the Vikings. Phil Dalhauser a few years ago was making 1 in every 12, so it shows the progression of this sport. Christian Sorum, just doing what Christian Sorum does, and that's work the ball away from the body, sees the block and just says, no thanks, I'll go the other way. Challenge the defender. He hits so well. Net band ace this time from the Vikings. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth here. This jump serve from Anders Mol is something they've been developing. If you think of the early days of the Vikings, they both float served mostly the opposition into systems so they could make block and defensive plays. That's exactly how they won this competition last year. But to go up a level for the Olympic Games, it's felt that they have to have a jump serve in their armory. And it's the serving from Anders Mol that's starting to disrupt the rhythm of Bruno and Evandro. Charging in on an angle. The block's doing its job here from Anders Mol. Super low out the vision. That's what he does so well. He's a big guy at 2 meters tall, Anders Mol. But he blocks like a smaller blocker out of the vision, popping up really late. Mol again. He's just trying to out Evandro. And the speed of the serve is not too different. Think about that. Evandro going at 100 kilometers an hour. Yeah, from a slightly higher airspace, but not too much. 11 centimeters higher, Evandro, than Mol, and he made every centimeter count on that bit of offense. Short on Sorum, dummy 2 ball, trying to lose Evandro. It's tight again. Oh, Christian Sorum. He has the ability to hit so sharp, but then bounce one to the line as well. It's enough to send a shiver down your spine. Bruno from the inside. Calm reply, knuckle defense from Sorum. Chance to transition. It's not just about making defenses, it's about converting them into points. Sorum and Mol. Beach volley Vikings cooking on gas here. Bruno the target, serves straight down the line, passing on an angle, and then brushing it back to the line is really strong. The last time that Evandro Bruno made a Final Four was some time ago now, back in Stad, the end of July. That's 4 competitions without a Final Four, but 3 fifth places, so they're keeping their form. They did win back in Warsaw, but then when you compare that to the Beach Volley Vikings, Vienna, one of the biggest events of the year, if not the biggest on the World Tour. First place finish, Tokyo first place finish. That was back-to-back weeks. Stad, first place finish. A bronze at the World Championships in Hamburg, where they were favourites to win, but they came unstuck against Julius Toller and Clemens Wickler. A second at Warsaw, which was a loss to this Brazilian side, but then wins in Ostrava, Xinjiang, and Brazil. 3 wins in 3 different continents in 3 weeks was very impressive. And now they're on a massive win streak again. On the turn, Anders Mol is looking for a challenge off the touch of Evandro.
Norway will challenge the play looking for a touch on.
Can't see from that angle. Teams are allowed 2 challenges. If the challenge is overturned and it's a good challenge, you keep your challenge. If the challenge isn't overturned and it's a bad challenge, you lose a challenge. Simples. Was there a touch? Hawkeye providing the goods. Off the fingertips of Evandro. And it's the little details that count, because we go to the technical timeout. The Beach Volley Vikings are just about in control here. They've only played 2 games this week because they won the opening game against France on Oud Batiarat and Quincy I. They had a good competition actually, the French beating Alisson and Alvaro. But then Adrian Carambula and Enrico Rossi pulled out of the second pool game, so they went through top and then they squeezed through against Niels Ehlers and Lars Fluggen in 3. They're a team that are improving very quickly on this World Tour, Germany. Evandro and Bruno have played 3 matches and they've won all 3. Herrera Gavira, who just lost in the quarterfinal. Brouwer Musen, who took a 9th this week. And Sharif and Ahmed from Qatar. 3 wins and 3 impressive performances from Evandro and Bruno, who are the 10th seeds for this competition. And if you're unsure, these teams have played 3 times before. Sorum and Mol winning 2 of those. Off the net spiking from Bruno. And there's a distinct difference when Evandro has to bump set the ball to when he hand sets it. The rhythm created for Bruno, not quite the same as when the pass is high enough for Evandro to hand set the ball. Slightly easier for spikers to get more rhythm off the hand set. Much better this time, and the set's in a perfect position from Evandro, turning his Anders Mol. Chance to transition and go 3 in front. The cover from Sorum again, but it's Evandro. Four gladiators, 2 of them being Vikings, just giving us 110% all the time here. Anything tight to the net, you've got to fancy Evandro and those big levers. Evandro. Crash helmet's back on, serving Sorum again. 96 kilometers an hour, which is fascinating when Anders Mol is serving a similar speed, but Sorum has really performed well so far. Good vision again, operating away from Evandro, taking on the defender. He's not doing much tooling of the block, he's not going after the block at all, he's not shot many balls, he's just looking for those big levers of Evandro and going the other way. Bruno to serve. Sorum in system. This time he does shoot the ball, and it's smart from Sorum to hammer, and then shoot away. Again, it's the vision of Sorum, and then the execution comes second. Both of the Norwegians, a product of a school called Top Volley in Norway. They just keep producing great athletes in this sport. Bruno trickling away. Fantastic career on the sands with Alison Cerruti. We knew this was going to be close. Evandro could really do with an ace here to bring it back level. But Christian Sorum stays really steady with his platform and then chips around the block. The level of this game is unbelievable at the moment. You've got servers serving at 100 kilometers an hour, 60, 70 miles an hour. That's faster than you drive a car. And then you've got players receiving those serves with ease and staying composed enough to put the ball away. Scary times, the progression of beach volleyball. These 4 athletes very much at the front of that progression. Bruno with 14 World Tour gold medals to his name. There's no dig that time. Another point for Sorum. Christian Sorum is just executing every time. That's not his cleanest point of the game so far. But it really doesn't matter. He's converting everything. Serving to the inside. Bruno, 2 looks at the court. Sweeping around really late. Christian Sorum. And waiting, lurking, lingering for the swap block is Evandro. 2 meters, 10 centimeters. Uh-oh. Sorum started chipping the ball around the last few points. He might want to go back to hammering again. Perfect passing, 102 kilometers an hour, and Christian Sorum just sits on it, stays relaxed, pops the ball in, and then goes and hits the sharpest angle from an inside position of the day so far. Honestly. Luckily, Sorum is the best defensive player on the World Tour from 2018, because when you're receiving a serve from Evandro, it's like playing defense. Evandro then just crushes one to the line. Please, if anyone can tell us what's happening, let us know. This is somewhere well and truly off the radar. It's a quick serve, but Sorum again just pops the left hand and sides out with ease. This is getting seriously ridiculous now. The level of play, I've said it once, say it again, is on another planet right now. On 2, Evandro sees it so early. The problem when you play against Anders Mol is you can't show him your cards because he watches everything like an absolute hawk. 3-point game. Norway make a point at a key time. The Vikings have their own clap and it's getting underway here. 2 very relaxed, charismatic customers of the sport here. The support team for the Vikings, humongous group of coaches, including Anders Mol's father, Tore Mol, Jetman Bernstein as well, another coach from the Vikings, alongside Anders' mother, Marita Mol, who played in the Olympics in Atlanta in 1996. Anders' brother also plays Henrik and had a good result this week qualifying for the main draw. And his younger brother also played last week in a 1-star with Christian Sorum. They took second, only for Anders Mol. And another young Viking in the making. From the inside, back to the action. It's a rocket. For Bruno, who's the smallest player on court at the moment, he loads at the bottom of his jump, his arms pull back. That, with good work from the heels and the glutes, gets him off the sand. Was there a touch? Matrix-style moves from Sorum and Mol.
Now everybody clap your hands.
First set points. Anders Mol, Christian Sorum. Bruno the target. Bump setting from Evandro, much better than we've seen previously. But Christian Sorum has dug absolutely everything out here so far. And then he goes straight after Evandro. Bruno's doing the blocking. He touches the net. The Beach Volley Vikings take the opener here in a high-level game, but they've still taken it by 4 points against 2 former world champions. Just stay with us. The best is still to come.
Allora signori, inizio per le 16:45 potete sperimentare la meditazione di 1 minuto con Patrizio Paoletti, autore del bestseller internazionale The 1 Minute Meditation, guida pratica e facile per conoscere.
It's just a small break in proceedings. But the progression of this sport is unbelievable. Evandro and Bruno arguing. We saw that in Stade, we've seen that before as well. But when they work together, they're such a force to be reckoned with. Rome seriously producing the goods here. The Stadio Olimpico just yards away. The ball's coming on 2 again, and it's a good change of direction from Evandro. He's learnt his lesson from earlier on, not to just swing at it, but to turn the ball back away from Anders Mol, who's always lurking around the body line of the spiker. 24 unbeaten for the Vikings in World Tour Volleyball, 32 if you include the European Championships. Anders Mol, Christian Sorum. Bruno just gets seriously creative, and he lets it linger, just hold. Smooth off the body swing, but he has a little look back to the Vikings because Bruno is Bruno. He loves the confrontation. He loves battling away. On 2 this time, Anders Mol. Good angles on the pass from Christian Sorum. The 2 ball. So crucial in modern day beach volleyball to try and take the blocker's attention as the game gets bigger at the net. Going so late, Anders Mol, who reads the game delightfully well. The Vikings have this method of playing where they make minimal calls and they make reads off the body line, off the harder attacks and the softer ones. The off-the-body swing worked really well from Bruno last time, but you just don't go about beating Anders Mol every single occasion. Bruno again from the inside. Waiting again is Anders Mol. Reading everything. He's reading Bruno's every move like an absolute book. Late with the outside hand. His eyes are watching Bruno. They're not watching the ball. Outstanding work from Anders Mol. High passing, trying to tempt Evandro into that 2 ball, but that's far better from Bruno, who seems to hold in the air just at this position here, where he can go either way, but of course he's not going to go back to the line. Why? Because he's just been stopped twice in a row from Mol, but Anders Mol even saw that one, the late move with the body from Bruno. Christian Sorum again, who hasn't missed many side outs so far in this game. Christian's father, Espen, coach all the way through the junior days, here in the crowd, as is his brother Alex, a former European age group champion. Free ball for Evandro on the right side. Slightly off the net, but the wind is drifting it on, but trying to turn it back a little bit too much is Evandro. Brazil have a lot of work to do now because there's a few arguments, some bad body language, and the Vikings have the psychological edge at this moment in time. And they also have this ability to just stay so calm. They don't get too emotionally attached to any situation in this sport. Bruno again from the right side. Anders Mol, 3 in this set already against Bruno. We were speaking about how he makes a kill block every 5 points. He's made 3 in the first 10 here, diving into the angle. Good night, Bruno, from Anders Mol. Again, charging in. Slightly loose play, knuckle on 2. Good play from Brazil. Doesn't matter how you score them. 6 wins on the World Tour for Evandro, the 29-year-old. His most successful stint did come with Andre Loyola, winning that World Championships with 2 blockers and big service pressure in Vienna back in 2017. Very tight. Evandro's in the game, surely. Smart from Sorum. They could have gone with 2 blockers if they wanted to. They're looking for an open-handed tip off of Bruno.
I can hear it, it's not a hit. I have to focus on that. I'm waiting for that.
It's very close, but you can't challenge that call in this game. It's whether the hand was stiff enough from Bruno. Looked as if it was just about okay. His serve is good though. It gets Evandro out of rhythm. That pause in play and the talk to the referee, and serving Evandro all about rhythm. Heavyweight clash. 116 kilometers an hour straight into the net. Remember Nicolai serving almost 130 kilometers an hour last year. Paolo Nicolai knocked out early on home sand this week with Daniela Lupo. On 2, Evandro trying to scurry away through. There's a net touch, but there's a challenge from Bruno coming our way. Diving back to the line. Anders Mol. Again, it's another great read because that's the most comfortable swing for Evandro here. To try and hit the ball to the angle on the turn is tough. So Anders Mol, again, reading the game really nicely. Yeah, they're looking for a touch off the block. I think it's potentially to slow the game down again from Bruno. Unless he genuinely saw something and then... Bruno! Stopped again from Anders Mol. The best blocker in the world last year is doing it again here, and he's doing it against the 2016 Olympic gold medalist, 2015 world champion. He's got him in his pocket at the minute, diving into the cross court, really, really late, penetrating well. The Vikings on song again. And this time there's an error from Bruno. And if you think about the progression of the game going forward, you think about Big Phil Dalhouse, a legend of the game. Same height as Anders Mol, but never got as low in the early areas of the block as Anders Mol does. The likes of Janis Schmedin's always blocked out of sight, popping up late, but now the big guys on the World Tour are doing exactly the same thing. It's disrupting vision players, and Bruno is a player of vision. So as soon as the block goes so low, Bruno's looking to try and find a solution, but the block is so late. Christian Sorum. Serving deep on Bruno, who's really suffering out there at the moment. Goes for the cut shot. And on that softer swing, who's waiting? Christian Sorum is there all day. Anders Mol going on the harder attack. Sorum 2 digs in a row. The way that the Norwegians play the game is different. It takes years of training to read the game, as well as they are right now. Three points difference. Bruno needs to try and find some sand with his serve, but Sorum from the left side, chips line, waiting. There's one back. And Bruno, fantastic from Bruno to take the high line from Christian Sorum and then to convert. Bruno is a Brazilian battler out there and he just won't give up on this game. Two gold medals for the Vikings in a row in Vienna and Stade. They obviously won the World Tour finals in Hamburg last year as well. So they're looking to go 2 in a row here. And you just can't get past the outside hand of Anders Mol. His fingers are pointing downwards. There's no way past. Evandro on the spin again. They've done their homework. Anders Mol, every time Evandro is turning, is taking that line away from him. Jump serve just falling short of the mark.
That falls. Out of bounds, will take the catch.
Fascinating here. Brazil rely on service pressure from Evandro. That's not working for them. They rely on Bruno to bring the stability. At the moment, that's not working for them either. Glimpses of it for sure, but they're not quite at their best, the Brazilians, at this moment in time, where the Vikings have only played twice all week. And yesterday they were taken to 3 by Germany in that second game. So there's a balance between being well rested and being out of rhythm. It looks as if a really quiet 2 days in the office for the Vikings have worked well for them. On the outside courts, Baron Horst, who's back in the big time with Van der Velde, are 7-all in the third against the world champions Vyacheslav Krasovnikov, Oleg Stoyanovsky. And here it looks as if the Vikings are heading towards another final. Good from hanging in the air. Holds that open position with his upper body for a long time before chopping it around. He knows he can't go through the body line. Anders Mol will get you there. Evandro. Maybe there is light at the end of the tunnel here for Brazil, because once again, when Sorum tries to chip the ball around, the eyes of Evandro so good. He swats the ball with the outside hand straight down. Christian Sorum again. Desperate for a side out. This time it's smarter from Norway. They're setting more off the net, but Anders Mol trying to chop it back, misses out on the party. We said that Brazil just don't give in here. And all of a sudden, faltering slightly, the beach volley Vikings. That's a rare error of judgment from Anders Mol. They don't make many errors, this Viking team. For a team that plays such high level, they're difficult to play against. Facing line, working off the body with the cut shot. unstoppable? No. Very difficult to play defense against? Yes. Facing one way, showing Bruno more of the seam before brushing it away. The other semi-final, Julius Toller, Clemens Wickler against Taylor Crabb and Jake Gibb. Big game coming up later, but what will the second semi-final look like at the moment? It's Bruno, who's now playing with more confidence, and he's found his rhythm again. He's chopped one on the cut shot. This time he's just starting to play around the block of Anders Mol instead of beating him. Different tactic, it's definitely working. Strong passing again. The breeze is really starting to get up here, and then Sorum starts to place the ball over the top of Evandro. That touch from 2 meter, 10 centimeter Evandro. They're looking for FIVB World Tour win number 11 here. The Vikings this week trying to go back to the line, and as Bruno decelerates here, Anders Mol hangs in the air and goes later with the penetration of the hands. It's another block for Anders Mol. Again showing why he's the best blocker in the world, but it's wonderfully matched by Christian Sorum and his side-out play, defensive duties as well. It's so tight. Ouch from Evandro. Sharp and very, very gnarly. Bounce. I see that one on Bounce Beach later on. Two looks and a pat to the line. 2 in a row that Christian Sorum's decided to go high over the block of Evandro. Difficulty for Bruno is that he's well aware that Christian Sorum can rip that one back sharp angle. His arm swing's good enough to get it back. So he has to hold and respect the cross court. Evandro from the inside, Anders Mol again. We are running out of fingers and toes to count the amount of blocks here from Andy Mol. If it's not on Bruno, it's on Evandro. Looks like there was a clear touch from Mol. Silnikov-Stojanowski 13-10 up against the Dutch on the outside courts in what looks like an absolutely epic battle, but it's Anders Mol again. 2 in a row. Hiding so low, Bruno just can't see him. There's a consistency to this story, and it's that Anders Mol has got the better of Brazil at the nets. Miss serve. Okay, it's time for Evandro to step on up. We've seen it before, countless times, but Brazil really needs Evandro here to try and serve a few in a row, and all they get back is one into the net. The frustration evident from the biggest blocker in the beach volleyballing world, but Norway have been well and truly let off the hook at times. From Evandro, who started this game with a great run of serves, but it's mellowed out since then. Jumbo is out of bounds from Bruno as well.
Now everybody clap your hands.
He's not been able to get past Anders Mol, so he has to go over the top. He goes out of bounds. Christian Sorum serving for the Beach Volley Vikings to see them through to the final four. A little bit later on today, back off the body goes Bruno, but he really has to show the cross court with his upper body to try and lure Anders Mol into that more cross court block to then shape it back to the line. Second set point, Christian Sorum through the block. The Vikings have turned up in Rome and they've delivered another fine performance on the FIVB Beach Volleyball World Tour. They knew it was going to be a tough game against the reigning Olympic gold medalist Bruno and the former world champion Evandro, but they've made it look easy at times. Christian Sorum and his side-out play very much providing the stability again for the Vikings, but then Anders Mol to go and work his magic at the net with multiple kill blocks. The Vikings are in the crowd. They're celebrating again, because are we witnessing the best beach volleyball that we have ever seen from two players still in their early 20s. This is how the game finished. Christian Sorum off the inside hand of Evandro, changing direction of the ball. (22 and 23 years of age, and they are taking this sport to new heights. The way they play the game, the way they act. They are going for win number 11, and they've only lost 4 games this entire season. 1 in The Hague, 1 in Xiamen, 1 in Warsaw, 2 Evandro and Bruno, and 1 at the World Championships. They are really at the top of this sport, and they are taking it to new levels and new heights. I think it's time to go down courtside to hear from the Beach Volley Vikings with Mark Schuerman, our in-venue host.
Semi-finals. Anders, I don't know how many blocks you had. It was way up there, maybe into double digits. How do you do that against a team like that, a world champion, a gold medalist? You were on fire today.
I don't know, I stay just so focused. I don't know, my job is so important to get those blocks. They are serving like crazy, both of them, and yeah, I really needed all those blocks today. We play a really good game, and it feels amazing. Thank you so much to all of you guys to show up here. Amazing atmosphere.
Now, Christian, you had a couple of massive super spikes in that match. You're up there against the big guy, Evandro. What's your mindset? You're just coming in and wailing away against a huge block like that.
Yeah, I know Evandro is a good blocker. I just have to receive well, and then I get the perfect set from Anders, and then I just hit as hard as I can, and sometimes it works.
I love it. It worked all match long. Christian, Anders, congratulations. Now, they've got a bunch of fans here right behind them from Norway. You guys want to do the Beach Volley Viking clap with them? Let's go.
The Vikings, in true Viking style, they've come to the home of the Gladiators, and they're dominating again. And the signature backflip from Anders and back roll from Christian Sorum. Nobody in the beach volleyballing world will get bored of seeing that celebration.
Anders to the semi-final.
Well, there you have it. The match statistics. Norway beat Brazil in a clash of the Titans here in Rome. 2-0. Attack percentage slightly higher. More blocks from Anders Mol, 6 overall there. As we have a look at some highlights from a game we'll remember, but it's the Beach Volley Vikings top of the tree once again.
Make your way outside the arena with all sorts of good stuff, the merchandise tent, all the food and drinks just outside the arena. Semi-final time. Under the lights in just over an hour. E ora signori, vi chiedo il complimento a coloro che non sono muniti di biglietto di lasciare la Beach Arena. Vi facciamo un grandissimo applauso per essere venuti qui quest'oggi a vedere questo grande spettacolo. Vi invitiamo sempre domani per la Beach Arena, anche questo pomeriggio, per le fasi finali. Vi chiediamo quindi di lasciare la Beach Arena. Chiedo quindi tutti, sia coloro che sono muniti di biglietto